Italians and cat people, have I got a fairy tale for you? Tomorrow may be St. Patrick's Day, but right around the corner is the Italian celebration of St. Joseph's Day, and in my neck of the woods, it's kind of a big deal. So I'm sharing the Italian fairy tale, The Colony of Cats, today on Fucked Up Fairy Tales with Liz. Ding! Way back in the day, when animals used our language, the OG cat cafe was an old house in Italy occupied by a colony of cats. The neighbors were very curious about this household, but the neighbors did notice there was nary a rodent to be seen in town, so they didn't bother them. The cats were rich, somehow. Rich enough to hire a housekeeper full-time. But they were so picky, they couldn't keep anyone around long. It became pretty common that if a local girl was down on her luck, she would work for the cats a bit to build up her savings, and then leave when she got tired of working for a boss who stares at you while licking his butthole. We've all been there, ladies. A young woman named Lizina showed up at their door one day, having run away from her abusive mother and sister. And Lizina was the best servant they had had by far. Not only could she cook and clean competently, but she kept the unruly kittens in line, she paid extra attention to the old and infirm cats, and basically went the extra mile. One day, the cats were visited by a very old tomcat who was named Old Gatto. He was basically the old Deuteronomy of the place. The colony brought him up to date on their new and fabulous housekeeper, but it was Old Gatto who noticed that Lizina seemed heartsick. "My dear, you are so beloved here, and yet you seem so sad. What ails you?" "I've been missing my mother and sister." "Now why would you want to return there? I know they mistreat you." "Well, therapy doesn't exist yet, so..." "Of course you are welcome to return home, but let us thank you with a gift before you leave." The cat brought Lizina to the basement. Before them stood two large earthenware jugs. One of them was filled to the brim with oil, and the other was filled to the brim with a golden liquid. "So, which of these pots should I dip you in?" The oil?" "Wrong! You're a good girl! You get the gold!" Without warning, Old Gatto dunked Lizina into the jar with the liquid gold. When she emerged, she was clothed and bejeweled in gold. And her pockets were full of riches, too. Wait, she had a dress with pockets? The old cat gave Lizina very cryptic instructions. Pay attention to the cock who crows, but ignore the ass who brays. When Lizina followed those instructions, a golden star appeared on her forehead, making the girl even prettier than before. Naturally, when Lizina returned home all gussied up and wealthy, her mother and sister treated her much better. And naturally, her bitchy sister Peppina wanted her own golden shower, so to speak. But if you know fairy tales, and I know you do, you know that things are not going to turn out for Peppina exactly the way they turned out for her nice sister. So, friends, how's it going with Peppina? Well, she shuts our tails in the door on the reg. She eats all the best meat for herself and gives us the scraps. She never scoops our 20 litter boxes enough. Ugh, and she pets us in the wrong direction. And worse off, she's ugly as fuck. So when Peppina announced her departure, and Old Gatto brought her down to the basement, of course she requested to be dunked in the gold, but El Gatto dunked her in the oil jar. And then he rolled her all in the ashes and dirt, so she was quite a sight. He sent her home with the same instructions he gave to Lizina, but Peppina ignored the cock crowing and turned her head to the ass braying, which left her with a donkey tail swinging from her forehead. Her mother was horrified and dumped Peppina in the well. Eventually, a traveling prince came by and fell in love with Lizina. He proposed, and on the day he came to pick up the golden gal, her mother tried to pass off Peppina as her. But the carriage passed by the colony of cats, and they warned the prince of the deceit. The prince swapped the sisters, got married to Lizina, and they invited every single cat to that wedding. And let's face it, that is a much cheaper catering bill. Maybe I'm gonna have a cat wedding. The end. Happy St. Joseph's Day! If you don't know how to celebrate, you can always treat yourself to a zeppola, or just be extra nice to your local Italian friends. Unless one of them tries to tell you that Columbus was some sort of hero, in that case, shut that shit down. Fucked Up Fairy Tales with Liz. Fucked Up Fairy Tales with Liz.